What's up with y'all boys and girls, man? Hey, it's Jay Briggs here continuing. Let's cook up this NBA action, man. Y'all know we do it on the gym session. We cook up every single game. Every single day, man. Money making Wednesday, hump day. Looking for a bounce back day as well, man. Hey, I got my teeth kicked in last night. Wasn't fun. Y'all know me. I always call a spade a spade. I'll tell y'all exactly what it is, what it ain't. And last night, man, I got taken behind the woodshed. I lost my top play of the day with the Los Angeles Lakers. As I sat here later on in the day, the game that I personally had the most money on ended up being the Lakers. That's why it was the play of the day. It unfortunately didn't matter which way I really went yesterday. I probably would have lost anyway. We did cash one play with the Toronto Raptors, and that was a lucky cash as well, as they tipped it in, late in that game for the backdoor cover. Was what it was, be what it be, man. We won't get too low on yesterday's results, man. We've had a solid month. We've had a solid 2 weeks. We've had a solid week. One bad day won't derail the train, man. Bounce back day today on a Money Making Wednesday. We got 9 games to do exactly that. I appreciate each and every one of you that continue to tune in and watch this video. It means the world to me. All I ask is that you smash that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as I always say, man, if you're rocking with me, rock with me. I'm active on Instagram and Twitter. There's a link for both in the description below. And of course, I have premium plays over at the site. Lakers were laying 9. They won by 8 yesterday. That was our play of the day. So looking to bounce back on that today. Scoop it up. Let's do what we do, which is kick the crap out of the books, betting hoops. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm late today, but let's do what we do, man. Let's hop right into tonight's NBA action. First game on the board. We got the defending champs, the Boston Celtics, out on the road facing the Detroit Pistons. Celtics laying 4.5. I don't really love the spot for Boston on the second leg of a back-to-back with travel. Coming out of Toronto, heading to Detroit, laying points in this one. Detroit playing as well as they are, as hot as they are. I told you guys what I was looking for from Detroit was, will they come out of the break as hot and with that same intensity that they went into it with? And they have. And I think it's a good enough spot for me today to take them from an ATS perspective. They've been much better ATS here of recent. This is not the Detroit Pistons from last year. Boston, still one of the worst ATS teams in the league. We know the stat with Boston following a win this season from an ATS standpoint. Leaning on that, man. Give me the Detroit Pistons plus the points in our back pocket. What a year it's been for the city of Detroit. The Tigers in baseball was turned with Scooble. Yeah, if y'all watch the morning show, y'all know I love me some Tariq Scooble. The Detroit Lions been turned over the last 2 seasons. And Detroit Pistons were the absolute worst team in the NBA last season. Then a complete 180, and they're in the playoff picture. Shout out to the city of Detroit. No, y'all turned right now. Keep rolling, though, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of those Toronto Raptors, they got a cover for us yesterday. Today, they're on the road in Indiana. Pacers laying 10.5 in this one. Total 233.5. I'm on the Pacers laying the points. I don't want to overcomplicate this one. We love betting Toronto. Where? At home, at the crib, in Toronto, with the entire country behind them. Come on, man. Y'all know this. On the second leg of a back-to-back with travel, leaving Toronto, heading to Indiana. Don't think it's a great spot for them. I also really like the spot for Indiana, man. It's just a play on the spot, play on the situation. Bounce-back game at home that also happens to be a double revenge game. This team got beat up in their last game by the Denver Nuggets, 125-116. They've also lost both meetings this season to Toronto. First one was 130-119 on the 18th of November in Toronto. The second meeting was 122-111 on the 3rd of December in Toronto. We know what it is with Toronto. We love betting Toronto in Toronto. We made a really pretty penny this season betting the Raptors at home at the crib. We know this. Where can we fade the Raptors? On the road. Where do they find themselves today? On the road. Really good spot for the Pacers. Double revenge game that also happens to be a bounce-back game. I think they handle business. I'm going to lay the points in this spot, in this situation with the Indiana Pacers. We keep it rolling. We head over to New York, where the Knicks are laying 9.5 points on the Philadelphia 76ers. Total 230.5. Continuing to fade Philadelphia blindly. It's pretty much what I'm doing here. As of right now today, the Philadelphia 76ers are the worst ATS team in the NBA. It's kind of a little rotating door between Philadelphia, Phoenix, and Sacramento. Phoenix, though, covered yesterday, so they jumped Philadelphia slightly. But Philadelphia, as you see on your screen right now, 19, 36, and 2 ATS this season. They've only covered in 34% of their games. We've been blindly fading them, covering at over a 65% clip for the season. No reason not to do it here. I low-key like the spot for the Knicks at home, at the crib, following two tough L's on the road in their last two games to Cleveland, to Boston. They had to hear about that, man, had to deal with that. I think today is a flex their muscle style spot, and they beat up on a team they're head and shoulders better than. I do think the Knicks are a little overrated and overvalued. I say that, and I will continue to say that. I don't think they're nearly as good as the masses try to portray them to be, but I do think they're a solid team. Overrated and overvalued teams do win in certain spots and situations to justify why they're overrated and overvalued. And I kind of got that eerie feeling tonight with the New York Knicks. I think they handle business and beat up on the Sixers, the worst ATS team in the NBA. We keep it rolling, man. We head over to Washington where the Wizards are 6.5-point home dogs with the Portland Trail Blazers rolling in. Total 232.5. Not one of my favorite games tonight. I'll be real with y'all. I'll call a spade a spade. Small lean on Portland. I just think they're head and shoulders a better basketball team, and the Linsanity run for Washington is going to come to an end here soon. Washington is still the worst team in the league, just straight up. They're the worst team in the NBA. Portland, this team is much better than I think the average Joe, the casual NBA fan, thinks that they are. They're a bad team. They're a losing basketball team, but they're not Wizards bad. You feel me? There's a reason Portland is 6.5-point road favorites. You feel me? Small lean on Portland. Head and shoulders a better basketball team. I know Washington's been playing well here recently, but I also think Portland kind of will take a self-respect, and we're that good of a program. We got to go here and beat up on Washington. You feel me? That's kind of my narrative, if you will, for this game. Let's keep it rolling. We head over to Brooklyn where the Nets are 17.5-point home dogs with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Buddies rolling in, man. Thunder Buddies for life. They're my favorite money-making team. Yes, I'm mad at them. They've let me down in back-to-back games in disgusting fashion. They were beating up on Minnesota in that first game. Let the cover slip right through their fingertips. They were up 25 points or something like that in that last game just the other day against Minnesota. End up losing it outright at home. Really frustrating from Oklahoma City. But today, I think back to regular scheduled programming. You feel me? We love the Thunder for a reason. I think this is a spot. I know it's a huge line. I think this is a spot they just come in here and show why they're the number one team in the West right now. Why they're one of the best ATS teams this season, last 2 seasons, last 3 seasons. No matter what lens you look through it through, the Thunder have been really profitable. Trust them in this spot. Brooklyn, terrible home ATS team. They've been much better from an ATS perspective on the road. They just don't have that same punch at home. It's kind of weird. I don't want to try to figure it out. I just want to lay the points here with the Thunder Buddies, our favorite money-making team. Thunder Buddies for life. I'm mad at them for what they've done in the last 2 games, but we got to throw that out the window. I think they handle business in this spot tonight. Keep rolling, man. We head over to Miami where the Heat are laying 2.5 points on the Atlanta Hawks. Total 231.5 here in this one. This is a good little spot and situation for the Miami Heat, man. Double revenge game at home at the crib that also happens to be a bounce back game at home. Okay, sorry. Let me preface this right. Bounce back game at home that also happens to be a double revenge game that also happens to be a quick revenge game. Oh my God. The play says Miami, man. The play here says Miami. I don't want to bet this game personally, just on who I think is the better team based on what my eyes have told me over the last week, 2 weeks, is Atlanta. But I'm a spot and situation better, man. Sometimes even the spots and situations have something different than what I personally may think. I have to lean on the spot here and take the Heat. I have to. Yes, they're one of the worst ATS teams in the NBA. Yes, we hate betting Miami. But bounce back game at home that also happens to be a double revenge game that also happens to be a quick revenge game. Come on, man. I love talking about spots. Love talking about situations. Perfect spot and situation here for Miami to bounce back. Small lean on them, laying the points in this one. We keep rolling, ladies and gentlemen. We head over to Chicago where your Chicago Bulls are laying 9.5. I'm sorry. are 9.5-point home dogs with the Los Angeles Clippers rolling in. Clippers, man, on an extended road trip. We know we trust them at home. On the road, not so much. Bulls have been really competitive since coming out of the All-Star break. Many of us thought this team was just going to wave the white flag, lay down, and be awful. They are losing games, but they've been competitive in those L's, and that's just what I think happens here. I think it's just going to follow the script. I think the Bulls come in here, compete, lose the game. I think the Clippers come in here, win the game, fail to cover. We'll be betting the Clippers when they get back home. Clippers, one of the best home ATS teams in all of the NBA. They're like 1 or 2 right now, currently. So we know where to bet Los Angeles. It's at home in that multi-billion-dollar arena they just built with a wall and some more shit. So small lean on Chicago Bulls. I like the way they play in post All-Star break. Getting this many points in my back pocket. Sign me up. We head over to Utah, where the Jazz are 10.5-point home dogs with the Sacktown Kings rolling in. Sacramento, man, we already know what it is with Sacramento. 20, 33, and 4, only covered in 37.7% of their games this season. Hey, laying points on the road with this team, especially double digits, you're asking for it. I know. Utah has let us down many a times this season at home, and it's been frustrating betting Utah at home. The reason it's been so frustrating is the amount of money we made on Utah last season in Utah, man. Utah in Utah was one of our favorite plays last season. This season, it just hasn't had that same punch, that same oomph. But there's still no way in hell I'm laying this many points with Sacramento, especially with how bad they've been from an ATS perspective overall this season. Kings are the better basketball team, but I think the Jazz compete here. I think this is way too many points to lay with the Sacktown Kings. Jazz, I think, have a legitimate chance to win this game outright. I know that sounds kind of crazy just looking at the line, but based on how these two teams play, if the Jazz come with their A game, bro, they can definitely win this game outright at home. This is a game I want this many points in my back pocket with the home team, especially fading a team like Sacramento. You feel me? Last and final game of the night, we got the Houston Rockets laying 9.5 points on the San Antonio Spurs. I will lay those points with the Houston Rockets. San Antonio Spurs, man, this team, they just don't got it right now. I guess Wemby was the whole team for these boys. They had a lead on New Orleans the other night, let it slip through their fingers, end up getting dominated in that game, lost 114-96. And last night they had a lead on the Pelicans, and they let it slip away, and they end up losing that one as well. Super frustrating, man. Now on the second leg of a back-to-back with travel, I just don't trust San Antonio. Houston, they're starting to look better. They're starting to get healthy. Fred VanVleet is out for this one, but I still think the Rockets do enough. They're the better team. I don't like what I'm seeing from the Spurs, especially down the stretch in basketball games. I think the Rockets probably going to late run, extend this to double digits, win the game by like 13, 14 points is how I see it shaping out. So last and final game of the night, I'll lay the points with the Houston Rockets. Ladies and gentlemen, man, I appreciate each and every one of you that continue to tune in and watch this video. All I ask is that you smash that like button for me. You subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as I always say, man, if you're rocking with me, rock with me. I'm active on Instagram and Twitter all day long. There's a link for both in the description below. And, of course, I have premium plays over at the site. Bounce back day for me today on this Money Making Wednesday. Hop on something long term, man. Let's do what we do, which is kick the crap out of the books, betting hoops. Let's start another run starting today, man. Let's start one starting today. Appreciate y'all, man. It's been your guy. I'm out of here. Peace.